Hi, Advanced Ensemble. So today we're going to practice a few different bowing patterns, and these are some bow patterns that we've been working on in some of our pieces so far this year. But we're just going to practice these bowings on our scales, so hopefully that's a little bit easier, and then we can really focus on making sure our bow is going the right direction. So we're going to, if you look at the bowing practice worksheet that I wrote out, you'll see that there are a few different key signatures. So we're going to do D major scale, G major scale, and F major scale with different bowing patterns. So before we get too far into it, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So when you see this symbol right here, that is a down bow. So that's most of a square, and that is a down bow. And then right here, this is an up bow, and that's most of a triangle. So for violins and cellos, we can think about it a little different. So for violins, when we're on our upper strings and you see the sign for a down bow, that just really means that your bow is going to be moving down towards the ground. For cellos, because your instrument is at a different angle, that means that you're going to be pulling your bow, pulling it towards the right. Now, when we do an up bow, our bow is going to be moving up into the air, and you could also think that you're pushing the bow up. So when we see these different bow patterns, when you see a down bow, you either want to be starting your bow at the frog or in the lower half of your bow. So when you have a down bow, you're starting in this part of your bow, and this goes for everybody, and moving it down. And then when you're playing an up bow, you're going to be starting either at the tip of your bow or in the upper part of your bow, and you're going to be pushing your bow up like this. Okay? So if you look at the bowing practice worksheet that we have, let's first of all acknowledge that there are a couple different time signatures. So when we have this 6/8 pattern, which is the same thing that we did on the Moldau piece and Ensemble, 6/8 means that there are 6 eighth notes in a measure, and there are of course 2 eighth notes in a quarter note. So that means if we were counting this, that we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So you'll notice in the first measure that we have, and this is again something we did on our Moldau, we have a slur with a dot at the end of it. And when we have a dot at the end of our slur, what that means is that that the note at the beginning of the slur and at the end of the slur are separated. So let's listen to that bow pattern on our D major scale. So you can try that along with me. 1, ready, go. And then going back down the scale, you'll notice that I got rid of the dots. So that means that those are slurred, that there's no separation in those notes. So you can listen first, and then we'll go back and try it together. So let's try that together. This is in measure 5, but this is just starting at the top of the D major scale and going down. 1, ready, go. Okay, so you'll notice that we have a key signature change to G major, 1 sharp, F sharp, and a time signature change. So starting at measure 8, we're now in G major. So this rhythm, 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and you'll notice that we have 2 down bows in a row. So when the notes are this quick, you don't really have time to do a retake, so you just kind of have to stop your bow on the down and then keep it moving like this. Stop and then another down. Let's try that again. So again, we're going to be pulling our bow down towards the ground or over to the right. So down, stop, down, up, down, up. So let's try this in the scale going up, G major scale going up. 1 and ready, go. Okay, now I changed the rhythm and the bow pattern in measure 12. So in measure 12, our rhythm is 1 En, 2 En, 3 En, 4 En. We're just going down, up, one after another. So we don't have to worry about doing any retakes. So let's try that, starting in measure 12. 1 and ready, go. Okay. In measure 14, we're going to try the G major scale again, since this is probably one that's easier for you guys. And we're going to try slurring 4 notes into one bow. So you can see that it's written out. So let's try just measure 14 in this exercise. So this is our G major scale. Let's try that again. 1 and ready, go. Now we're going to go down. So in measure 15, we're starting at the frog, and you really have to use slow bow because our bow has a slur over 2 beats. So we have to fit 8 notes into 2 beats. So we have to move our bow pretty slowly. Measure 15. 1 and ready, go. Okay, so now we move into F major. Now these key signatures, these bow patterns probably look a little familiar because this is what we're working on in our James Bond theme right now. So you'll see that once again we have 2 of the same bow in a row, and I actually wrote it out 2 different ways. So we have, I wrote down, up, down, up, but this is the same thing, down, up, and that's a hooked bowing. That's what we call that, and that's the same as what we did at the top, as the same as the mold out that we worked on. So down, up with a staccato dot, so that means that there's a break in the note. So that's why you can mark it with 2 ups in a row, like here, or you can mark it with this slur and a dot. So when we see that slur and a dot, that's a bowing, not an articulation. So we're not going to make that slur smooth, and that's why that dot is there. And we'll go ahead and practice these in a swung rhythm, similarly to what we're practicing for James Bond. So I'll demonstrate starting in measure 16 with the down, up, up. And again, we're not going to move our bow in between the ups. We're going to go down, up, stop, up. Like this, okay? So I'll demonstrate measure 16. 1 and ready, go. Let's try that one more time, all together. 1 and ready, go. Okay. So this is a bow pattern that we're using in our James Bond. So I just want to make sure that that we're all, when we see that up bowing, that we're pushing our bow up, we're stopping, and then we're pushing it up again. Okay, so then let's look at measure 18. So here we're doing down, up. This is another way to write the same rhythm, actually. So because this is a swung rhythm. So we're doing down, up, stop, up, down, down, up, stop, up, down, down. So this is the rhythm that we're doing in our at the end of our James Bond. So we're doing down, up, stop, up, down, down. we're doing this bow pattern, we're doing down, up, stop, up, down, stop your bow, and then move it down again. Pull up, down to the ground again. Down, up, stop, up, down, stop, and then again down, down, up, down. So pull, push, push, pull, pull, push, pull, push, push, pull, push, push. Let's try together 18. 1 and ready, go. So if you have any questions about bowings, feel free to reach out and come to our office hours. And don't forget to play the James Bond theme along with the video that Julie and I put together remotely of all of the parts together.